Good morning and a very happy new boating and fishing year to you all. Hope you have a good one. Right, just a quick clip to start this one. First trip of the season. It is freezing, -6 when I got in the van at 7:30 this morning, and for coastal South Devon we don't see those temperatures very often. So I'm down on the boat. I've just unloaded and parked up, and this is the boat. All iced up, but we'll give the engine a nice warm up. I'll get sorted out and we'll have a chat down the river. I don't really need to say it's a stunning morning, do I? Yeah, absolutely glorious. We're really lucky with the weather. It was windy yesterday. For anybody that knows the area, I was at Hope Cove and it was choppy off there. And tomorrow night we've got the next named storm coming through. So just this brief weather window and I've got the time to go out. So we'll give it a go. Yeah, -6. It's the coldest I've seen it for a while in Devon. It was a stunning night last night. We do have good stars here. We've got quite dark skies in Devon. But it was spectacular last night, and we paid for it with the frost this morning. Say paid for it. Yeah, I'll live with a winter like this quite happily. There was also a spectacular bang on half moon, meaning that we're bang on neat tides. So not fantastic for predatory fish, but that's not a complaint. So the plan for today, if I can find a wreck, if the weather conditions will allow it and I can get out there, if I can find a wreck that's not been netted, I've got some frozen mackerel and some slow jigs, and we'll give that a go. It'll be no good for lures today. There won't be enough movement in the water. So yeah, not massively hopeful of fish, but really good to get out for the first trip of the season. And if I can catch one fish that's good for the table, then that'll be perfect. Failing that, if the conditions are not as good as they appear in the estuary, there will be lots of smaller fish close inshore, and I can use the mackerel for that. We're talking small pout, small pollock, wrasse, that sort of thing. But as you know, I like to fish for the table. So if we could get ling, pollock, table size pollock, or a cod, that would be brilliant. Very few and far between down here, the cod, over the winter. There was an article in The Guardian that somebody pointed me to, just all about water temperatures warming, and there's cod around, but they're spawning further north, and we've not seen any of them. So yeah, so that's the plan for today. Get out to a wreck. I'm quite limited on time with this tide. I'm only going to have a couple of hours fishing on a wreck, so hopefully get to one wreck first time that's not netted, have a good go with the bait and the slow jigs, catch a fish and come home. I will see you out to sea. Just thought I'd stop here briefly before we head out to sea. When you get weather like we had before Christmas, pretty much 4 weeks of solid rain and wind and horribleness, and down here in the southwest, house prices are expensive, beer's expensive, except in my local, which is very acceptable, thank you very much. The 4G network's rubbish, transport links are appalling, food choices are very limited after 8 o'clock in the evening. You do question living in the southwest. Then other mornings, who cares about the 4G network? Let's get out to sea. Not sure how well this will get picked up on the camera, but look at these swells rolling in on the bar. Spectacular. So that's going to go one of two ways. It's either big swells that are going to be just as big out to sea and the wreck won't be doable, or it's just funneling in with the tide into the narrow bit as it narrows coming in the estuary. So it's perfectly safe, they're not breaking, they're very far apart, although they're quite large. So we'll press on and see how far we're going to get. Good morning. That's only a very young one. Almost arrived on the wreck, just a couple of 100 feet away. And there's that young seal here, which I hope you can pick up on the camera, which is a good sign. There's obviously something here for it to feed on. So yeah, I'll get sat on the wreck, see what the drift's like, and tackle up. Well, conditions couldn't be more perfect. It is absolutely glorious out here. So it's option B. That spectacular swell on the bar was just the incoming tide going against the natural outflow of the water. You probably can't pick it up. There is a swell here, but it's really shallow and long. That's the named storm, just throwing stuff out ahead of itself, really. Right, so we're sat on the wreck. We've hardly got any drift at all, which is brilliant for bait and slow jigs. So I was going to use my other rod, but the reel seized up a little bit. So anyway, this one is perfectly good for the job. It's a nice rod, actually. So it's a Penn TRQ 12 to 20 braid with a Fathom 2-speed lever drag. This is the 30 size, 40-pound braid, and that's going on to a wrecking rig, which I tied myself. I've got some crimping gear and stuff for Christmas, so I'll put a video out in the quiet months and show you how I do it. But yeah, I don't tie a robbing leader, so I've got quite a long length of 200 pounds coming from a swivel going on to a 10-0 meat hook. Nice piece of mackerel on there, which is still frozen, and because of a slack tide I just got a bit of a rotten bottom there on a 6-ounce lead. So I'm just going to reposition slightly and drop that down, see how we go. There we are, nicely over the wreck. Yeah, absolutely stunning today. I came out, left the mooring, and there's a kingfisher just across the bow. There's herrings on the empty pontoons just warming themselves at the start of the sun. Coming out here after that swell on the bar, it is absolutely flat. It's just brilliant. Loads of guillemots, the odd razorfish. I did see a couple of solitary dolphins, and that seal, which hopefully will come out on the camera, just a couple of 100 feet short of the wreck. You've got to feel sorry for guillemots when the conditions are like this. They to take off, they need a bit of a run up, so they're flapping like mad, paddling like mad, and then they need a little wave just to jump off. And when it's like this, like I say, you just feel sorry for them because they're paddling and flapping like mad and they can't take off. They're just wasting loads of energy. You'd think they'd get used to it and just sit there and swim for a bit. Right, are we on the wreck? Yeah, we're right on the wreck, but according to the sounder and the plotter, but that feels very soft, so maybe a bit of sand covering the wreck or weed. So with a tide like this, very slack, we're 0.2 of a knot. That's a bit of early interest there. Yes, it is. Feels like small fish plucking at it. Yeah, so perfect conditions for bait fishing. Might try the slow jig. The lures are probably not going to do any good. Just the predatory fish, the bass, the pollock, they won't be out hunting on a tide like this. Encouraging though, just to drop down and have a little knock, even if it is just small fish plucking at it. The downside, if there is a downside to conditions like this, is that the boat spins around. So I had us pointing into the sun so that it was a nice camera angle, and now the sun's behind us. But I'm not moving yet because I've still got this little plucky bite. probably pout following it up. That was 10 turns up and it's still plucking at it, so just want to get it out of the way really. I don't mind them plucking at it a little bit because they're unlikely to be hooked on that big 10-0, but what they will do is munch the bait up a little bit and have a little bit of a little cloud of bait bits, and that might attract the ling out of their holes. The first drift wasn't quite right, just skirted the edge of the wreck. This one's just perfect, hopefully. So drop down for drift 2. And we're straight into little bites. Oh no. That was the bottom there, but we're all right. That was a more encouraging bite, but I think just small fish still. There's not a lot you can do really other than fish through them. If you're trying for ling, you've got to be on the bottom, and that's where the pout are. That's where they are, ripping apart your nice bait. There's some weight there, but it's just greedy teeth hanging onto the bait. And hopefully not pulling it off the hook. Well, the little bites have stopped, which is suspicious. Suspicion upheld. Let's rebait and go around again. Let's try a whole mackerel this time. So this one I've hooked through the head first and then out through the dorsal fin, but put a slot in its back so the hook will lie flat, so almost like a bought lure that you'd buy. See if that'll put the smaller fish off pecking. Hasn't put the small fish off. They're rattling and rattling. Very aggressive small fish. Properly munched. There's clearly a lot on the wreck because I'm coming up with empty hooks or like that, completely chewed to death, so something bigger will be eating them. You just got to fish through them. So I'll have another little go with bait. If I'm just getting pestered with small fish and can't pluck anything else out, I'll give the slow jigs a go. I suspect they'll catch pouting, but we'll have a little press on with the bait first and see if we can't tempt something out. Send this down for a go on the tail end of the wreck. Sorry about the sun, that's just the way it's sitting. While this one's going down, I just wanted to have a quick chat about YouTube and subscribing. And I'm not going to bang on about this because I hate it when you watch YouTube channels and they're all saying like and subscribe and all that. But what it does for you if you subscribe, it just gives you notification that I've put another video on, that sort of thing. What it does for me is that if you get more subscribers, YouTube open up other tools to make the content a little bit better. Principally, it satisfies my shallow male ego, knowing that what I'm doing people like. But one of the tools it has given me already is it shows me the demographic of people that generally watch my videos, and let's just say that most people that watch my videos didn't grow up in the technical era, and there is a misunderstanding in terminology really. If you subscribe to my channel or any channel, it doesn't cost you anything. It's not a subscription, they just call it subscribing. So if you want to subscribe, do it. It's not going to cost you any money, and like I say, it satisfies my very shallow male ego. Right, we're straight into small bites as soon as it hits the bottom, just on the leading edge of the wreck. It must be absolutely living with pout down there. And they're taking advantage of the slack tides because the predators are not out, and they're just there scavenging everything they can, including my mackerel. Which is better than nothing happening at the other end of the rig. But not really what I've come for. Right on the leading edge of the wreck now. We are in nearly 70 metres of water. Drift's picked up to half a knot. Let me see if I can show you this without losing the camera. Lift it up out of their way. I don't know if you could see that because they are only small bites, but they're just rattling all the time. So I'm not leading up to the wreck this time. I've just literally come straight on top of it. Or pretty much. By the time the bait gets down there, I'll be straight on top of it. Mackerel head, same rig. And I think, unless it's productive, this will be the last drift with bait, and we'll try the slow jigs if this doesn't do any good. Can't believe there's another storm coming tomorrow. When you look at the look at this now, I managed to get some layers off, get rid of the coat, get rid of the snood. No gloves needed. Sun's warm. It's beautiful. So I'm trying for ling, really. They're in the wreck. So with this, all I'm doing, it's not a particularly snaggy wreck, saying that I got snagged last time, and I'll probably lose it this time having said that. It's not particularly snaggy, so all I'm doing is keeping in contact with the wreck. If the line wasn't vertical, I'd put a bigger lead on to try and keep it as vertical as possible, so you're not dragging it through the wreck. And then just every now and again as the boat moves, just lifting it up, but as much as possible trying to keep the lead in contact with the wreck, and the bait is just an inch above it, a couple of inches above it, so that is pretty much flapping around just on top of the wreck. And as the lead goes into the little holes, the bait will be actually sat on the wreck as well. Obviously it runs the risk of losing gear, but the ling are lurking in their little ambush holes waiting for something to come past, and they'll dive out, grab it and go back into their holes. You just have to find their holes with a ling in it and plonk something right on top of their noses, and they'll snap at it. Hopefully. Right, all I'm doing with bait fishing is feeding pout, so we'll give the slow jig a go. So for this, I've got my Abu Ike 7 to 24 gram. This is 6'9" spinning rod. It's a Penn Clash 2 3000 with 30-pound braid. Onto a swivel at the end, some 40-pound mono, and onto a slow jig. Now, unlike lure fishing, where you are imitating a live fish, the slow jig, you lift it up, drop it down. As it flutters down, it's imitating a dead or dying fish, so it doesn't necessarily need the aggressive predators that are out on the spring tides. It should do well on the neap tides. So the idea is to fish the watercourse. So you get it down to the bottom, not yet, get it down to the bottom, lift it up, let it flutter down, and then perhaps give it a turn or half a turn, lift it up, put it down, and so on. So you're jigging it up and down, letting it flutter down, doing its action as it flutters down, winding up in between in between turns, so you end up gradually bring it up and fishing the watercourse as you go up. That's the theory. So let it flutter down, give it a turn, and then carry on like that. As the action is the fluttering down bit, you can do that with any rod. So I'm sure there are advantages to buying specialist slow pitch jigging rods. I'm struggling to find them personally. You need a long enough rod that the action of lifting it up is bringing it up high enough to flutter down. Don't want anything too heavy because your arms will ache. Other than that, it's a rod and a reel. Of course, if I don't catch anything, it's because I've not got a specialist slow pitch jigging rod, so I'll buy one of those. We're a little way off the wreck yet, just drifting onto it. Say a little way, we're about 50 meters away from it and drifting that way. If there's pollock about, they're not necessarily on the wreck, they'll be on maybe baitfish or whatever around the wreck, so try a little bit before the wreck, obviously on the wreck itself, and then a little bit the other side. And I'll probably catch something now because my battery's nearly flat. I'll change it after this drift. In fact, I'll switch off just in case something decent does get hooked on. Hopefully I've got enough battery power. Hopefully you can see because the sun's gone right behind me. Very bendy rod this, so I suspect we've got a little pout. Whatever it is, there's not much fight in it. Does this count as not blanking for the first trip of 2024? A tail hooked pout. There it is. First fish of the year. We'll see. It looks in good condition. I think that's going to swim back. I'll keep an eye on it. Make sure it does. Yeah, that's going down. Although I said previously, lure fishing's no good on a neat tide, we have picked up to 0.7 of a knot, so I think I'll give that a little go and see if there's anything about with that. Yeah, give it a try. Right, change of rig, onto a lure, change of battery, sending it down to see if we've got a change of fortune. Well, that's been pretty good so far. One tail hooked pout. There are lots of fish down there. If I put some feathers on, you catch fish every time. If you it'd just be reeling in pout though. It's trying to put something on that's going to wheedle out the big fish that might be in amongst them. It's funny with wreck fishing on neap tides though. This could have been netted yesterday. You know, there's no sign of nets now, but they could have been on for the last 2-3 tides and picked up yesterday and gone, and they will have wiped out all of the decent fish on it. Something made a noise in the water there. Ah, yeah, there it is. Looked like a tuna to me. A couple of 100 yards away. Don't know if you heard the splash on camera. I think what I'll do, I suspect this has been netted. I've fished this wreck several times before. It's a good wreck, and with bait, slow jigs and lures, if all I'm attracting is small pout, then my strong suspicion is that it's been netted on this neap tide. That coupled with a tuna about, I'm probably not going to do any good. So I think I'll have one more drift. Now I'm here and got the lure on. If that doesn't yield anything, there is another wreck about halfway between me and home. So we'll pop onto that one for half an hour and see if that can do anything. But I'll bring you back either there or if anything happens on the final drift. So just punched into a closer wreck. I did actually stop at this wreck on the way out and thought, oh, it's such a nice day, I'll press on out to the further wreck with the misguided idea that the more you spend on fuel, the better chances there are of catching fish. So I've come into the closer wreck. It's still in fairly deep water, 65 metres of water. The drift slowed a bit, so I've gone back onto bait. I've flappered off the mackerel, frozen mackerel, same rig as before. We'll see if we can't pull anything out. So yeah, more glorious day. There's not many days in a Warrior that you can drink a mug of soup at 21 knots, unless it's all over my face. No, I think I got away with that one. So yeah, very smooth 21 knot ride in between the wrecks. Flapper on the bottom. As long as the drift is a similar direction to what it was further out, then we'll do okay on the wreck. We just need that one table fish, please. I've got about half an hour just to save the day, and then I need to head back in on the tide. Only a brief day and no fish so far, none to speak of, but a beautiful day. Great to get out on the water in January. Last drift before I have to run for home. Not massively confident, I have to say, mainly because that's how the day's gone, but also this is the third drift on this this wreck, and yeah, not even a touch from pout on this wreck, so yeah, not massively confident, but we will see. Last drift, you never know. That southwesterly is set in now as forecast. It's only really light, 4 or 5 knots, but it's the precursor to the forecast storm coming in tomorrow night. So really lucky to get this this window on a bit of time when I was free to come out and enjoy it. Shame about the fish, but as I've said many times before, if you're going to get upset about not catching fish, don't go fishing. It would be lovely to go out and catch fish every time, don't get me wrong, and I can pick the tides, not when I'm going to catch fish, no one can do that, but I can pick the tides and conditions where things are going to be more likely that you can catch fish. Today on neap tides, where we've had sort of slackish tides and the wrecks have probably been netted, you're limited really. I haven't got fresh bait, I've only got frozen bait. The lures are not going to work. The slow jigs, yeah, I had a second pout out there actually, so a couple of pout, but then we'll go. Oh no, just a small bite, but I think it's taken it into the wreck. Yeah, what was it has. What I was going to say was, if you limit your fishing to the days where you're only more likely to catch fish because of the tides and the conditions, you're not going to go out on days like this, and that's just criminal. Right, that's come out of the wreck, but whatever it was has also let go of it. I've got a whole mackerel on this time. So yeah, I'll continue this drift. We're pretty much off the wreck now. Yeah, just out the back end of it. Last drift. Has it saved the day? We will see. My lack of confidence had made me switch the camera off. Oh no! Oh. Put it down on the off chance, but there's no chance. I don't know what that was. There's something quite heavy. I didn't recognise the fight at all. It's come off. I'm guessing it was something hanging on to that mackerel rather than being hooked. Oh, that's a shame. Whatever that was heavy. It probably wouldn't have been double figures, but it was heavy. Oh. Yep. Exactly that. So that was a whole mackerel. Something's been hanging onto it and bit through as I was reeling in. Resisting the urge to shout in frustration. Right. Let me swing this round a little. So, first trip of the year. Pluses. It's a beautiful day. We potentially had something large on. Didn't blank, but just pout. It's a glorious day. We saw kingfishers, heron, razorbills, guillemots, tuna, dolphin. We just didn't catch the fish, but I've been through that as we've gone along. It's neap tides. They were likely to have been netted. What can you do? You're not going to not go out on a day like this. It's absolutely glorious. That swell is building. It's probably I don't know, 12 foot now, but really long. So there's going to be another extended period that that we can't get out. Once this sets in from the southwest, it'll build up into a sea that makes it uncomfortable, and yeah, you're not even going to consider going out. So yeah, so that's it. That is fishing. For those that are new to the channel, I put videos like this out because I want it to be real, and if you boat fish in the UK, you get days like this. It's a lovely day. I'm not disappointed. I would have liked to table fish. I could have caught a lot of small fish, but I had my eyes on the prize of a table fish and it didn't happen. It just got away, I think, just now. But there we are. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the day out. Hope you enjoyed the scenery. Sorry there wasn't more fish. We will try to address that in future episodes. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.